Before we launch into reading this sample chapter, I'd like to introduce myself and tell you who I am, what I've been through and how I healed from it. My name is Sharon Stewart and I am an ex-victim. I was born in Montreal, Canada in 1960 and raised by two narcissistic parents. Both parents were severely emotionally abusive towards myself and my siblings, took no responsibility for us other than just keeping us alive, probably just to continue to be their scapegoats, and never once told any of us we were loved. My father attempted to kill me at least once, and a second time if you consider that sabotaging a car repair could have created an accident for me. I see my parents as products of their own abusive home environments and they never did the work. So it fell on me and my siblings to heal ourselves from our trauma. I was diagnosed with every anxiety condition in the DSM-4, depression, PTSD, and with a severely split personality, not a multiple, but really fractured. I spent my adult life being abused and taken advantage of by everyone I met. I used to wonder if I had a sign on my forehead that said, "Hey, kick me," because I felt that that's what people were doing day in and day out. I hated being alive. I was suicidal for many years and didn't know where to turn. I hid away and tried to play small, but that didn't work either. Everything I tried to do just didn't stop it. I lived in fear constantly of further abuse. I was hypervigilant and oscillated between extremely restless and extremely tired. I realized that as long as I continued to live as my parents had taught me to, I was screwed, pardon my language. In 1999, I joined the 12 Steps. I knew I had an addiction problem and worked many of their programs, but the one I especially loved was Codependence Anonymous, whose motto is "To thine own self be true." After 8 years there, that's exactly the path I was on and I haven't stopped. I was gaining my power back and loving it. I worked everything I've written in this book. Everything. The book has large self-awareness section because for those who are feeling like a victim, quite often they have no clue what they're doing that perpetuates it. You need to know how you're thinking, how you're behaving, and how other people see you in order to recover from your victimhood. And it's doable. One day at a time, as they say. Life will present you with many opportunities to see yourself more clearly, and to stick up for yourself. The first time I asserted myself, I had been reading self-help books, and decided that that's what I was going to do. In a very odd situation, I got parked in by a man who parked his car in behind mine, effectively boxing me in on all four sides one day. As I walked out of the store, I mustered all my courage and told him to move his car. His response was, "Oh, I'll only be a minute." I said, "Move your car now." As I insisted, he turned to his car and moved it. My adrenaline was in overdrive as I shakily opened the door and then fell beside my car, sliding off the edge of the car door frame, but I got into the car and was proud of myself that I'd done it. I'd asserted myself for the first time. You can do this too. You don't have to be stuck playing a role, because that's what it is, it's a role you've taken on, that has nothing to do with who you really are, and that makes you miserable. But you have to do the work, gain the awareness, understand yourself, and then begin to assert yourself with others. You're not alone. Many of us have done it. Abuse can be healed. Sample chapter, Blaming Others. Note, some people hear this chapter and feel I'm blaming them for what happened to them. I'm not. This chapter speaks to how you have been changed as a result of the abuse you experienced and that you have to take responsibility in order to change yourself back to a happy person. Staying angry at your abuser or abusers will only keep you angry. When you refuse to forgive your past abuser or abusers, you continue to live in pain. When you start to do the things that are suggested in this book, you will find forgiveness easier and more appealing. Someone who is stuck in being very hurt does not want to forgive, and what's worse is that the constant barrage of subsequent abuse you may be experiencing only keeps the wound fresh rather than allowing it to heal. Every day just seems like the day the abuse occurred. There is a way out. There is a way to heal the pain. Sharon Stewart. Chapter from Stop Being a Victim. Blaming others is part of being a victim. A big part. When you're not taking responsibility for your own life, you blame others. You feel they are responsible for your misery. They're not. You are. Despite all you hear in love songs, romance books, TV, movies. It's not anyone else's job to make you happy. It's your job. I heard in a love song once where this person was near suicide. They were so unhappy and then she came into his life and all was well again. Sorry, that's not love, that's an energy vampire. Those are the predators I was speaking about in the last lesson. Energy vampires take your energy. Anyone who is so downtrodden they want to kill themselves, who hooks up with someone else and suddenly feels like $1,000,000, is vampiring their energy. They see themselves as worthless while being alone, and the only way they have value is being with another person. That's nonsense. I was taught that by my parents and rejected it, preferring to live alone most of my life. Nobody is half a person. You don't need anyone to complete you. You're whole within yourself. It's difficult when everyone is with someone else to be alone, but sometimes people need to be alone to figure out who they are. Fact is, whenever I got into a relationship with someone, I ended up with one of these predators. So what was the point then? Every time I got into a relationship, it compromised my life. So I learned on my own how to overcome these problems. I went into the 12 steps, which was a great way to learn to stand on my own 2 feet and to love myself. I learned to stop blaming others. I learned to take responsibility for my life. Whatever problems there were, I had created them. I wasn't responsible for anyone else's life but only my own. However others wanted to live theirs was up to them, but it was also up to me to decide who gets to share life with me and who doesn't. Anyone highly dysfunctional I feel compassion for, but they're on their own learning path. Stop blaming them for being in your life if they're creating pain for you. You let them in. They didn't bust the door down, you opened it. Exercise 1. Who do you blame for your problems? Write down a list. 2. Now look at what your part in all these situations is. What should you take responsibility for? 3. Just keep the list for now. Unless you've started to assert yourself, just keep on building awareness. For most of you it won't be time to take action yet. 4. Understand that writing these exercises and breaking through your barrier of denial might be emotional. Let yourself cry and feel all your feelings, happiness, sadness, anger. Whatever, let them out. You're removing energetic blocks that will allow you to change your life. Crying is important. Feeling sad is important. Let it out. Grieve.